No
Oh,
sound effects.
okay. It will be distracting when we will be speaking and stuff like that. All right. One more minute, and we're gonna start.
So
And
in the so you have you been struggling with heavy paint with everybody? Has it been
dude, okay,
behaving?
okay. One second. I gonna leave the frustration for when we're live, so I can actually confront you
Oh
before all
no.
the people about my suffering.
Oh no.
uh, no. It's all it's in the good way. All right, we are start recording. Start streaming. Hello, everybody. Uh, uh, Today is an exciting day. We are live with Vaughn, Heavy Pulley, creator of WEBBYPAINT and Heavy Paint. As you guys know, we're doing a HEAVYJAN challenge created by him. So today we can express our frustration
No.
and blame all the suffering on Vaughn
No. Why did
because
I come here?
there's gonna be a public execution lesson. We're gonna be like, dude, why did you do this? Why did you
Oh
create?
no,
Anyways,
it's an
uh,
intervention.
yes, Vaughn is an amazing painter. He's a really good visual artist. How can I tell? Well, he worked on like probably the most prestigious projects of the last 5 years, in my opinion. Spiderverse, and Albert's Mielgo, The Witness. I think
Mm-hmm.
style-wise, those were the revolutionary projects recently. So, anyways, today we're gonna go over WEBBYPAINT. Vaughn was kind enough to donate his time to us so he can show his pipeline, see how his brain works, and then we can, ask him some questions. And we're just gonna be having fun. I'll have a conversation with Juan as he paints, and yeah, share it around, guys. Yeah, let me know if the what you call it, uh, if the if you have any questions in the chat, I'll be monitoring it. All right, Juan, let's go through it.
Yeah. Hello everyone. Thank you for having me on your Discord community. It's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, I don't know. What do you want me to talk about? Shit. Yeah. I was very lucky to get started in animation, and I've been able to work on some pretty fun projects like the Witness and Spiderverse. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I could show some of that stuff if you guys want. Uh, it's kind of ancient history now, but I have like archives of work. But anyway, in the course of doing that work, I was always using lots of tools, and I've always been kind of a tool nerd where I get very, well, maybe not a nerd, but I get very annoyed at tools, as I'm sure that you're getting annoyed at heavy paint right now. But everyone gets annoyed at tools at some point, right? And I just couldn't handle it, so I started to build my own tools. Well, I first started by modifying other tools like Blender, because you can actually do scripting, and you can make your own UI menus and little macro scripts that do things for you. Like it's like a little robot that does stuff in Blender. So that's how I started with programming, and then like a year after that, I wanted to do painting outside on my phone, and I was just looking for a few very simple tools, like for example, like this fan tool, which is kind of like the classic heavy paint tool, um, and or like a rectangle tool here. Let me see, where's rectangle? Like this is the tool I needed because I was trying to draw a train. I was trying to draw a side view of a train and all the windows like this. And I just couldn't find a rectangle tool like this, a very simple rectangle. And that's just kind of how it started. I got into a rabbit hole of programming for like the next 4 years.
So you didn't know any programming before that?
Just very little, because I was doing the Blender scripts, but that was it. Um,
Holy moly! So you found a problem. You know what? You're like, I gotta solve it. I gotta do it myself. If there's not out there, you know what? I love people like that, dude. You should, guys. You should learn. If you see a problem, go solve it.
Well, it's a blessing and a curse though, because you know usually it's if you see a problem and it has to annoy you enough to the point where
Have to develop
you're
it.
forced to take action. But I think I'm a little bit, you know, uh, I'm very like easily annoyed by tools and programs, so that's kind of why I had to do it. But
So did it start on the same train station? You were like, damn, crap. I have to go learn programming right now in the
yeah,
same day.
literally,
Seriously?
literally, I went home that
That's great.
same day and learned how to make just the rectangle on like a Udemy tutorial or something.
Wow.
um, but
See, guys, if you want to achieve anything, you just Google it, and then you start doing it, and then
mm-hmm,
you end up with heavy paint.
yeah. But yeah, let me show. I could show some work.
I couldn't find any of the Spiderverse things because there's so many heavy paint
Oh,
paintings that
yeah,
I
it's
had to
top
scroll
secret, top
way down.
secret. Let me see.
Or
So
are you one of those persons who like, well, it's already done, and I'm too lazy to post it online.
no, it's
Let me
all
just save
online.
it in your folder.
If you
Oh, it's on your
it's
website.
here, heavypoly.com, and then this is basically like all the stuff since forever. Um, yeah, I could show some.
And you worked on Tron also with Miyoko, right?
Yep, that was the first one I worked on with him. That was in 2012.
You're the
So I
OG,
was very
man.
lucky
Because
to.
Tron
Yep.
Tron was the project that kickstarted Alberto, I think.
Mm, kind of, yeah. For that was his first project in quote unquote Hollywood, or I guess
Yeah.
when he moved to Los Angeles and started and art directed for that project. But yeah, this is some Spider-Verse stuff. It's not as exciting as the background paintings, but it's a little bit more mundane, like vehicles and. But we did get to try to make the vehicles look like they fit into the paintings. So
Hmm.
here the background is like a 360-degree environment based off of probably one of Alberto's paintings or somebody's painting.
Hmm.
There was some like sets. Basically, for that movie, I was in charge of doing stuff that didn't exist in real life. Because
Hmm.
the way Alberto likes to work is he'll usually go to the location and take a bunch of photos.
Hmm.
In this case, it's New York City, so he went there on a trip and took like a gazillion photos for reference and videos. And so the painters were basically going off of his reference, which
Hmm.
was pretty cool reference. He has a definitely like he has a style with his photography too. You can feel like it's an Alberto photo or Alberto painting in a photo. But then, so since I come from a design background, I was basically in charge of doing stuff that doesn't exist yet. So we had to make stuff up, which is can be tricky sometimes, but it's fun. So these are some robots and cars and stuff. Um, and then the other fun part is, yeah, trying to make it fit into the world. So
Yeah.
we get to look at the paintings and see if we can make the 3D look more graphic, which
Hmm.
means taking out some information from the 3D. So like these black lines, they have zero
Hmm.
lighting information. They're just a flat color. Or these shapes here, flat color down there. So we're telling the computer to render these certain areas as just one color, one single color, instead of giving it the full 3D, lighting and everything. Um, and then we're also like taking some cards, we call it, just
Hmm.
like little pieces of paper basically, and sticking them inside of the taillights to make it look like a reflection, even though or like a fake reflection or a cartoon reflection.
What about reflections on the side of the specular thing? Was that all painted in?
Yeah, no, these are reflecting the painting here of the
Mm.
painting background. So these, you kind of get a automatic graphic feel from these reflections because the painting is graphic. So
Hmm.
it's just reflecting the painting, so that helps too. Have a nice painting to reflect.
Because I remember in the movie they were interactive. The specular was interactive with the environment, so I thought, was it just like a plain image moving inside of a geometry, or yeah, it was. I guess it was real time.
Yeah, I think they're probably reflecting all the background um, paintings and stuff and buildings and geometry. Um,
Also, I heard that in the windows, you guys just had like three or four blobs just moving. It was like 2D, 3D
oh yeah,
shapes
yeah,
in
yeah.
to fake the
Mm-hmm.
people in the windows. I thought that was genius. That was
Yeah,
amazing.
they made a shader for the traffic too, like in the very far distance, like well, it's hard to see here, but let's say there's
Yeah.
cars crossing the intersection all the way back in the
Hmm.
background. They made little shaders that were like it's just little headlight blobs going back and forth, crisscrossing and going side to side just randomly, which kind of worked because it looks good when it's far away. This is like one of the only paintings I was able to do, um, but these paintings were uh, we had like a super dream team of painters like Yun Ling and Peter Chan and
Hmm.
Neil Ross and Craig Mullins and blah 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 blah. It was insane. Um,
Yeah. It's like an A team, Avengers assembled.
hmm
Did you feel intimidated with the team this talented? Because when
um,
I
yeah.
freelanced with a lot of friends who are like they're like they're like insane. And
hmm
every time I present something of my own, it's really hard to compare to other people. How do you deal with that?
Well, I just tell myself that they're like they're like the thoroughbreds, you know. They're so freaking good at painting, but I'm not. I'm not that. I'm not like
Hmm.
a thoroughbred painter. I'm kind of a little bit of you know more general here and there, but I try to pretend and like try to fit in as good as I can, but I know that I would never will. So you know what I
You play
mean?
to your strength, right?
Hmm.
You play to your strength. You know what you're worth, though,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
every time, because for me, with me, it's every time I felt like this comes comes my way, I'm like, okay, I can't be them, right? So
Yeah.
I gotta be me and bring what I can bring to the table. Even
Yeah.
though those people probably can also bring it to the table, but I gotta have some Misha juice on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Misha flair.
Yeah. Like they're better than you at some things, and you're better than them at some things, hopefully, and should all kind of balance out.
But it's really hard to judge, man, because you are with your painting 24/7, right? So like your eye is super screwed because the other day I was doing heavy paint study and my wife never likes my paintings and I hated the painting and then she came by and she's like, "This is awesome. This is your best painting ever." I'm like, "Really?"
What? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I was so happy, man. Because my paintings usually never impresses my wife. Like remember the movie Gru,
Oh,
the first
mm-hmm.
one? He had a mom that always said, "Eh." Every time he said, "Mom, I'll build a spaceship."
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
bro, he's like, "Eh." That's my
yeah.
wife sometimes.
Yeah, nice. Um,
Oh, that's dope.
oh yeah, this is the collider. This was like the room, or yeah, it's the collider room. It used to be vertical, pointing up and down,
Hmm.
but eventually it changed to how it is in the movie. But this is like, let's say this is a few months of work, maybe 2 months of work, and in the end, it's completely gone. None of this is
Yeah,
in the movie.
yeah. That's the thing that's super man.
it was
Like what? Like 2% made it into the movie. Why did I
yeah.
work it?
Yeah, so you're lucky if something gets in. And for some reason, a lot of the things that I design, they usually end up getting exploded or like destroyed within the first 5 minutes of them appearing. That's what always happens to me. This was another. We were thinking of doing like old school vintage stuff for vehicles, but I don't think this. This is another part of the movie where they go to Big Sur in California, which is like on the coast, the west, like along the water,
Hmm.
but that got cut out. Um, and then this was a test, another 3D test to try to make it or see if we could make the buildings look graphic as well. So a lot of the
Hmm.
buildings were painted here, and this is in Blender. This was
Hmm.
also my first project using Blender.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, because well, I had done other 3D in other programs before, but I was using Blender because
Grease pencil?
it had no, it had GPU rendering, like really fast
Mm.
graphics rendering, which was kind of rare at the time. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, here's some cars we were playing with, like stretching them around. And then these little lines here on that you see on the corner,
Hmm.
they would pop up and disappear. So they only face one direction. So see how it's facing us now, and
Hmm.
keep your eye on this line. Cause when the car turns and it's
We're
no
moving,
longer
right?
facing us, you see how it disappears,
Oh. Oh.
and then this one shows up. And this is kind of just a sort of a really basic, almost a video game style trick
Hmm.
where you just these polygons, they only face in one direction, so you can kind of like
Hmm.
turn them on and off based off what direction they are.
Interesting. Have you seen the new short that I think a Pixar director is working on? I think Zach Retz. You know Zach Retz.
Mm-hmm.
He's directing it. I think it's called The War Is Over. Have you seen the teaser?
Oh yeah, that looked really cool.
Yeah. But they did an amazing thing because the outline disappears when I can't really explain it. There's this one shot that I was just like uh watching on slow mode, like minus 2x, tries to figure out how they did it. They did everything unreal. And the lines also disappear and appear, but only when the outline is needed for the hand. But then when the whole thing turns into silhouette, the lines disappear. And
Hmm.
I was really fascinated because I think like it's interesting where the industry is going because it's like first we went super 3D and now we're going back to like painterly stuff plus 3D.
Yeah, it's like people discovered that, oh wait, we can actually do more with 3D. It doesn't have to be straight up 3D. Like and
Yeah.
it's actually a lot more work to get 3D to look not 3D, but
Mm.
it's interesting. um, let's see, I can show. Oh, this is some development work for Love, Death, and Robots. These are basically all the shots I worked on. Um, yeah, Yunling did a lot of paintings here too. Okay, this is one of the longest shots I had to do where yeah, it's one of the only full 3D shots in the short. So that just kind of automatically goes to me, and then these ones too, because there's a lot of 3D here. So you notice, yeah, this one too. This is like basically a giant 3D painting. Every little surface is painted, and there's like no lighting
Paint-
here.
Were you guys painting on the 3D geometry, or was it painting that then was like projected on 3D geometry and then
Well, these are kind of tricky because you don't want to do a straight up painting for it because there's so much stuff overlapping each other. Like these things are overlapping that and that. So if you were just to do a straight painting, it would be like almost more work. So the way this one worked is like I kind of made these sticker sheets of like all the different parts, you know, the AC, like some of the lines, the roof, and it's all flat. It's like a 2D flat sticker sheet, all in projection view, and then you take those and you start to build it like a 3D paper model. So like this whole wall here is just one sheet of paper with a sticker of the pillars on it. And then up here is, I guess it's hard to see here, but yeah, up here, like the gate is one sticker sheet, and then there's all these ladders and things that are separated. Yeah, like these lines are separated. The pipes are 3D. Some of these things are 3D, but even if they are 3D, they don't need to have 3D lighting on them. Like I think these ones don't have lighting. The pipes do have lighting, but and then the floor has to catch shadows from the character, obviously. And then some of these are just like really basic strips of polygons. And you can see they're kind of chunky as well. Yep. So then that's just a lot of painting. It's mostly, it's like, I don't know, 80% painting and then a bunch of 3D.
And then you composited everything in Blender? Or?
Well, this project was, the characters were rendered in Arnold, I think, Maya and Arnold, and then yeah, we composited them into, and then I would bring the model and animation into Blender and render out the shadows only and reflections a little bit, and then they would take the rendered character and composite it over. So it was a little annoying because ideally you would have everything all in one package. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not good to work with Maya and Blender. I think it should be either or, ideally.
Well, right now the war is over short. They are, I think they're doing everything in
Unreal, right?
and I think it's all real time, and it's kind of cool that you can see the final picture.
Yeah.
Well, how it is.
Unreal is like the dream. Like, we've been trying to do, like, every single project. I remember always being like, oh, we should try Unreal. We should do Unreal. But it, like, was never good enough. But now Unreal 5 looks better than these renders, right? Like, it's already, the lighting quality is perfect. So
Yeah,
there's no
yeah,
reason
yeah.
not to use Unreal now. And it must be so cool to actually be able to see everything and like work so quickly. Like you could do so much better work that way.
Well, because the thing is, the final shot is the final shot is in front of you.
Yeah.
That's the way to go. Of course, you can do like color keys to match it, and then it's like post production, color grading, all this stuff. But it's kind of clunky.
Yeah, you can
because
do everything in camera, basically.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
3D
it's kinda
camera.
like, yeah. It's so cool because, like, you know what? If you want to slightly adjust or go away from the storyboard just a little bit, you can, and it gives so much opportunity for a director to discover new direction on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I work with a few directors that do mess around with Unreal, and then sometimes we would just sit on a call with the team, and we'll have like a mock-up of the environment, right? Even though if it's rough, and we're like, okay, the storyboard said this, but first of all, let's play around with like camera focal length, right? Are we gonna have shallow depth of field or not shallow depth of field? There's just so much freedom, and it's really cool.
Yeah. It's basically your previs is the same as your regular your final.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like this would be our well, not previous, but you know, the viewport render, which is still pretty decent. Like this is already much better than it was, let's say, okay, this is 2011, Jesus Christ. But in like 2008, you know, you probably wouldn't be able to get these fake metallic looking things and like semi reflections, right? Even though it looks really crappy now. But that was like the best of the best. Yeah, this is Tron stuff. So I worked on a lot of vehicles and sets. um, in here. And they hired me to do vehicles, but then Alberto was like, "Oh, can you make this room for us?" I was like, "Okay, let's try it." And I think this was the first one, or no,
Yeah.
was it that one? It was one of these rooms, and then that's kind of how I got into doing set designs. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, let's just try it, and then this project was really fun because Robert Valley was also there,
Yes.
who I'm a
Was that short that he did apple cider and
mm-hmm. Um, yeah, pear cider and cigarettes.
yeah,
And
apple cider.
yeah, I was like, that's too
uh,
innocent. What?
it sounds like it, but it's not really it. Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then who else? Yeah, there's so many great artists on that show. Rob Rupel was there, also, um, and Craig Mullins was there. It's basically all these same people that follow Alberto around everywhere.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so that was Tron. And then I worked on this game called Sunset Overdrive. I don't know if anyone knows that one. It was one of the launch titles with Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox One? When did Xbox One come out?
Dude, I was always the PC guy, and when I was growing up in Russia, Xboxes were like a year salary for my family to buy. So
Oh my god.
sadly,
What?
I was never.
It's
Yeah.
it's but but here PCs are more expensive than Xbox.
Well, now I actually make money. So back in the days, so what happened? We'll have like a lot of missionaries from America come to Russia, and sometimes they would bring like old laptops, old PCs, and all that stuff. Not PCs, but old laptops. I was a laptop boy,
Hmm.
um, and I was fortunate enough to get my hands on an old laptop that was like was really bad, but yeah. And then from there on, I was team laptop. Uh, because I couldn't afford anything else, and I was sticking by it. I was like, "Oh, you have a Sega or an Xbox?" Oh, I'm too PC.
Well, that sounds so strange because over here the laptop would have been the most expensive option. I don't know.
I don't know, dude. Everything, like even toys, all my childhood toys, they were brought overseas by American, just
Wow.
given to us. So we never bought toys. We never, honestly, we were just people were
Damn.
just giving us stuff back in Russia. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun. It was fun because I was like, but you know what? Everyone is like, dude, where'd you get this toy? And I had like an old version of Buzz Lightyear. I still have it. I love that toy, dude. I also had Slinky. I had Woody, and I had the car. So I had almost had the whole collection of Toy Story
Oh, that's cool.
uh, toys.
Nice.
That was the movie that I watched as a child 24/7 to a
Oh,
degree
yeah.
that the VHS. There was one moment that couldn't play anymore. It was just static because I watched that thing so many
Oh
times.
God. Yeah.
Yeah, Toy
Toy
Story
Story
was
is a classic.
it is.
Um, yeah. So this is just some more stuff, more vehicles, more boss buildings, buildings that turn into monsters.
It's
Sasquatch
so
and
weird because
friends.
your professional work, it is some painting, but it's mostly design. But
Oh
you
yeah.
paint a lot. It's just for the heart. Was there a point in
Um.
time where you what you know what I want to do something creative that is not work related or
Well, I mean, yeah, I did want to learn painting and get better at painting because I mean, like, yeah, most of my work was always just sketching or design. That's what I kind of learned in school. I actually studied car design, so we didn't really do any painting. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to get better at painting, and then I forgot to go back to doing design work. I just kind of go on tangents sometimes, or if I'm interested in something, I'll just try to learn about it and get better, and
Mhm.
then I'll sort of forget about whatever I was doing before for a while, and then sometimes it comes around like full circle and get back to the original stuff, but I still like doing this stuff. I still like painting. I like 3D. I like everything. It's all fun. Just building stuff or making things is always fun.
Do you have any personal projects that you like secretly working behind the scenes?
Well, I guess Webby Paint is my and Heavy Paint is sort of my personal project right now. I mean, in terms of art, no. I wish I did, which actually I think, you know, Heavy Jan is my excuse to do some art at least. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to like this is one thing I was working on for a while and I never finished it. But these were just like little spaceship paintings.
Those are dope, dude.
Yeah, these were like gouache and watercolor. And
Ah, seriously, those are traditional.
yeah, and then these are all like ballpoint pen and pencil, um, like mechanical pencil. Because I always loved this book called Incredible Cross Sections,
Mm-hmm.
which is a book from the 90s where this guy would take like the Queen Mary steamliner, which is similar to the, a Titanic type boat, and just like break it into little, slice it like a loaf of bread, and break
Mm-hmm.
it into little sections, and draw every little section all exposed like this,
Mm-hmm.
like having
Mm-hmm.
parts of it so that you can see inside, like that,
Mm-hmm.
just breaking parts off. So that this is like my little love letter to that kind of thing. I like to see the guts of the machines inside of them and what's happening inside. Or like this, like a cat with a little robot inside. I used to do this a lot when I was like in elementary school. I would draw
Yeah.
lizards or whatever, and then having little robot
You show what's
guts.
inside, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I had a sketchbook like that in school too, and it turned out to a 500-page book because I was a sketchbook into a sketchbook into a sketchbook. Because when I was a child, I wanted to be an inventor,
Mm-hmm.
but then I figured out that I only like concepting it, not building it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's a lot. 500.
I was also doing blueprints of. I was trying to make mutants, so I would do like spider plus goo plus this will equal this, and then I would do like fake anatomy of a like actual Spider-Man, half man, half spider.
Yeah.
Uh, I need to find those old sketchbooks, man. Because when you're a child, that's when the true creativity comes in. I feel
Yeah,
that the industry corrupts you to some degree.
I know. And it's like when you're a kid, also the nice thing is that it's almost like you take it more seriously too. Like you make up
Yeah,
these rules for your little imaginary world, but it's real for you.
yeah,
And you're following the rules, and it's like it's serious when you're drawing it. But when you're,
yeah.
like when we're doing things, we're like, oh, this is just a made up thing. But I don't know. I like how serious kids can be about their
Painting
imagination.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. You know what? It's. I'm trying to find the way back to some degree because I think longer you work in the industry, sometimes you can really lose the spirit and the heart and fire that was within you that got you into the industry in the first place, and then you find yourself in this kind of like almost like a hell loop. You do whatever you love, but you hate it because you lost the creativity in it to some degree. That's why I created this community, for example. That's why I'm doing challenges because I'm like it's the same way as you doing like heavy jan. I'm like, you know what? I need something. I need inspirational juju for this month, so I'll do the
Mm-hmm.
challenge and I'll do it with other people. And I think many people who are in the audience right now, they're like, you remember that time? I'm not sure if it was for you like that, but for like 5 or 6 years before I came to the industry, I was like, I want to work for those super cool companies, and that's my dream. And then the first day I got to it, I was like, oh, that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
feel special. And then
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. No, that's a very real feeling. I think it happens. It definitely happens to a lot of people. Um, yeah, because you know, yeah, it's like you kind of gotta go there first to see what it feels like, and then you know.
You understand it's nothing special, right?
Yeah.
Um, well, it is special if you're lucky with a really good team, but there still has to be like a time to recharge and get the the
Yeah.
creative juices back in.
It's very sad if somebody goes to a company and then they totally stop posting and doing their own work.
Yeah.
I get sad, like if one of my favorite artists, I love to see their work on the internet or wherever, and then all of a sudden they just disappear and I never get to see their stuff anymore.
For like 2 years.
Yeah. So I think, it's you just gotta remember to keep doing your own thing too. They can't like fully own you. As an artist, you have to remember that you're an artist too. Which is what I'm trying to do here, because I get lost with my WEBBYPAINT thing, and I'm like, okay, can I try to be an artist again? I'll try, for this month at least.
Yeah, it's a hard balance to maintain, right? Because the thing is, like, after you paint for like 8 to 12 hours a day, trying to do something really, really good for your client, right?
Hmm.
The last thing sometimes that you want to do is paint for 2 hours after that. I
Yeah.
usually find myself just, launching Hearthstone and playing Battlegrounds
Hmm.
after that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't want to be too gloomy about it, I guess. It depends, because if you can find a good team and like good people that you like to work with, then
Mhm.
then you got to hold on to that and like cherish it, because
Yeah.
it's rare and it's really special. Um, and then yeah, and if you're in a team, you can do really great work because everyone there is, like an expert at something different usually, and you learn a lot from being around them. And I don't know, it's a lot of fun to see really cool work being done all the time around you. Just be in that environment. But yeah, but I think for myself though, I'm a little bit more of like a um solitary kind of person. I like to kind of work alone and just be by myself a lot. So this is sort of the perfect job for me, just doing heavy paint and webby paint, because I just like, you know, I just sit here and work on my own. But then it has a social aspect to it as well. Like right now, where I'm meeting you and meeting um, this Discord community, and so I'm it's kind of forcing me to get out of my shell as well, in a way. But it's like, you know 90% just sitting by yourself, grinding and doing the work. And it's not always very sexy or anything. It's just like very
Want to become a
tedious.
business artist? Sure, you're gonna be spending 17 hours a day on your bum.
Yeah.
Do you go outside, work out, anything?
Yeah, I started doing kickboxing classes last year, and that's pretty fun. Um, just a little bit of cardio, I guess, and I like riding bike on the river here in LA River, our fake river. um, but yeah, that's pretty important too, because for a long time, I've always been sort of like, a nerdy person, and
Mhm.
I always thought that, oh, working out is only for jocks and like idiots and blah blah blah. but but finally, it took me long enough to realize that actually working out is very, very important for your brain. Because if you
Yeah,
don't have blood going to your brain,
yeah.
it doesn't work.
Did you did you wake up one day and you're like, dude, I'm going to die if I don't go to the gym tomorrow? That's
Yeah.
what happened to me because for like for 6 years, I lived in a trailer park in Wyoming
Mm-hmm.
for like 4 years, and that was my starting ground. And then my trailer got flooded in the winter, so I had to move and live with like drug addicts in the basement.
Oh wow.
That's when I that's when I got my first freelance. Yeah, they had fleas and stuff, and then they would play Call of Duty until like 5 a.m.
Wow.
But then I got into AAA, and for like 4 years I disappeared, and then I figured out that one day I was just procrastinating nonstop, and I couldn't understand what the thing was, and I think my body was just giving up just from sitting so much. So I started rock climbing again,
Oh,
and
nice.
dude, you could feel the difference when you do cardio and just exercising. Your brain just is much better.
Yeah. And
Because
yeah.
because yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
My legs were shaking most of the time when I would go like down the stairs. You know that feeling when you've been sitting for a long time
Uh-huh.
and your legs do your legs shake when you go down the stairs sometimes?
Oh, I haven't gotten that one yet.
Okay. Well, maybe it's just with color scripting, dude. There's just so many frames per day, and then you forget to eat, you forget to eat, you forget to sleep, everything. I still haven't found the balance, man. It's either all in and then die and then recoup and then come back. Uh,
Yeah.
or nothing. I don't know. Haven't found the balance, man.
What do you mean? But I thought you're working out, right?
I am working out now. It's better. It's much better. But on some days when maybe it's like sometimes it's just procrastination gets a hold of me. Like you know that feeling where you can do a thing in 4 hours, but you do it in 12.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then my future self pays the price
Mm.
of the past Misha watching YouTube.
Damn.
I
Past
usually
Misha.
I usually work the best when the day off the deadline. That's when I'm most productive. I'm like, dude, I didn't
Yeah.
know I could paint that much in so short of time.
Yeah, I think that's
However,
I've kind of started to accept that too. Like there's some days where I'm just shitty and I can't get anything done and then but I think of that as sort of like a business expense.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's gonna happen sometimes and there's not really anything I can do about it. I just have to whatever. It's a loss. But there's other days where I'm really good and I'm like on it and I'm getting so much stuff done and I feel super great. And that's another thing, like I just can't control it. But yeah, you can try to make those days happen more often, like and usually, yeah, when you have your routine of you're working out and you're eating okay and I heard a thing recently that really resonated with me which is someone says um they ask you, are you eating like an asshole? Are you eating like an asshole? And then I'm like, okay, that's a great way to determine, because you know if you're eating like an asshole, right?
well, because you feel shady afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So,
trying to eat better, like nuts and potatoes and rice and
mm-hmm.
meat and all that stuff. But I always undereat. I just forget. It's so funny. You know what I noticed? Like I haven't gained weight in 6 or 7 years because brain consumes a lot of calories. Believe it or not.
Oh, so
And I think
before that you weren't thinking at all?
no, I was thinking, but I was not as intensely.
Oh,
I was
okay.
always on. I was always like on a malnourished, cancer patient looking type.
Oh no.
Sometimes, yeah, it's just because the thing is, man, I miss those days sometimes, even though it was unhealthy. But when you're young, I think it's okay because the thing is, when you have an immense passion burning in you, and I think a lot of people forget to ride that wave of inspiration and passion in the beginning stages of their phys dev career, for example. And I'm not saying it's okay to malnourish yourself and overwork yourself to death, but I think obsession to some degree, especially in the beginning, is what gets you and boosts you and gets you to your goal faster. Because almost every friend that I know, and I'm pretty sure you probably were the same way, right? You were like obsessed with the thing, and if it didn't go right, you're like, I gotta stay up all night, or I gotta finish this painting until it's right.
Definitely. Yeah, like to an unhealthy level. Yes. But you're right though. I don't know. Maybe that is part of it. You have to be a little bit unhealthy when you're starting out. I don't know.
Well, okay, guys, this is not health advice. There's no nothing. So if you work yourself to death, it's not our fault.
Um,
Just a disclaimer.
well, okay, if I was going to start over again, I would say like it would have been nice to try to be healthier earlier, just so I don't have to suffer so much. Um,
That's true. That's true. But here's my theory. Hear it out. I think because most artists are, I'm pretty sure most artists are severely ADHD. I think that's what got us into art in the first place, to some degree. I think it's how the brain functions, the creative brain functions. I know non-ADHD artists, and they're insane. They just can focus whenever they want. But where I was going with this. See, my ADHD brain just switched off. Help me out, man. Help me out.
I don't. Sorry, I completely lost track of what was happening. Sorry, my brain is also stopped functioning. Oh no,
Right.
we have a
By the
full.
way, a bunch of your friends saying hello and say that you should participate in UFC since you're kickbox now.
Oh yeah, you should do UFC. That would be there's
He's the artist duking it out.
dude. There's actually.
Dude,
Hmm?
do you know chess boxing? But we're
Oh,
gonna have
yeah.
we're gonna have dude, we're gonna have a heavy paint laptops in the middle of the ring, and it's gonna be a 20-minute painting session. And after that, there's gonna be 2 rounds of
Oh
duking
my
it out.
god.
And then the final point is how how well is your painting turned out, and how many points you scored in the boxing ring.
Oh my god. The painting gets worse and worse as the round gets on.
No, more impressionistic, like it starts realistic and then it's like Dali style. The more confused you get on the ring. All right, we're getting sidetracked here. Sorry guys.
I like how we're talking about health and I'm painting a hot dog.
Yeah, I did promise you guys there's gonna be a WEBBYPAINT thing. All right, what is your favorite tools that you use? Majority. I looked at my stats. I use chalk, lasso, and the most of it is undo.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What about eyedropper? I really like the
no,
eyedroppers.
Eyedropper is the second. Eyedropper is the second.
Yeah, you gotta work on that.
I know.
Less
I know. You know,
eyedropper.
let me pull up my stats of the. By the way, guys, this is WEBBYPAINT. I'm presenting WEBBYPAINT.
I'm well,
My last-
lately with WEBBYPAINT, I basically only use oil tool because I just like it. It does some funky stuff like. So the oil, I don't know if you can see, but when you drag it becomes more muted. You see that? Like in the beginning it's more noisy.
Yeah.
And then later on
Oh, that's cool.
it's less. So
By the way, I sent a screenshot in the Discord. If you open the chat of my stats and just look at the
where is
Control
that?
V, upper right corner bubble. Right, yeah, later.
oh my goodness. Wow, you undo a lot. Jesus.
But the thing is, I have to find the stroke. So if I don't find it, I erase it.
Well,
But
you know
this
you
is
can.
so cool, dude.
The cool thing about painting on one layer is if you don't like the stroke, you instead of erasing, you erase with the
paint
color.
over it.
You paint the color,
Yeah.
the negative
I
color.
really need to start doing it. Because even in WEBBYPAINT, I paint with 3 or 4 layers. Like for example, like my pipeline when I paint, I'm like, okay, this painting is gonna be 4 layers, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And in my regular program, I usually just create a bunch of layers and I merge them all the time. But I learned the other day that in WEBBYPAINT, you shouldn't merge layers because you'll lose your painting.
Oh shoot! Sorry.
I lost my. That's fine. I lost my yesterday. Did you see the baby painting that I did? I'm not sure, but yeah, I started that thing second time, and I merged all the layers, and everything got erased. So I went back to the first version.
Oh my
but I really
God.
need to start working on one layer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sorry about that first of all, but yeah, I recommend try doing a painting on one layer. It's actually pretty fun because in terms of edges, you can play
Y-
more with edges when it's all one layer.
Yeah,
Oh fuck!
yeah.
What just happened? You can play more with edges. Oh my god!
Please live. Okay, good.
Oh my
The
gosh!
hot dog survived.
What the hell's going on? Yeah, cause you can say get the background color and like feather it into the foreground color to play with the edge, to make it
Hmm.
softer or whatever. Or with
Yeah,
with layers, you can't really do that um, as easily.
yeah.
Uh,
Unless you paint on top. Usually, what I do is like 3 or 4 layers because I'm still a creepy mask dude. And thank you for having that feature still in there because if not for that, I would be doomed. Uh, but then I paint on top because the really cool thing about this app in general, Baby Paint or Heavy Paint, is that it does really like happy accident happen. Sometimes an edge can get lost, or you really can control it to some degree. And yeah, guys, if anyone haven't tried Baby Paint or Heavy Paint and are not part of HEAVYJAN, I really recommend doing it. Not because Juan is here right now, but I really see the benefits even in my own work. And my wife even said that, dude, your painting are more lively. And the cool thing about this is that when you're painting in like tradigital way, I call like you can call it tradigital
yeah,
if
that's a good word for it, I think.
it's just the thing is you are really in control of finding your happy accidents and keeping them, and there's a lot of creative decision. And the cool thing about this, that's the other day I was like reminiscing about, like AI can't do that, and it's really is one of a kind because every brushstroke that you place is a conscious decision. And then with overlays, multiplies, and like the industry standard pipeline to some degree, right? A lot of it is not conscious. It's the program calculating thing for you. And when you're in heavy paint and you have like a color palette in front of you, dude, you just need like, okay, what color am I picking? What color am I seeing in the reference? What's the value relationship between those two planes? Is this negative shape or positive shape? And sometimes, man, a reference can break your mind. That happened to me yesterday.
Hmm.
Uh,
It's
it was, but
happening to me right now.
yeah. See, and the cool thing about this, guys, is that you're not you're not becoming a mindless machine depending on the tool that you use. And if you can paint in heavy paint, you can paint anywhere technically. And then when you come back into your drawing program and you have like bazillion layers and you can do whatever you want, you feel like a god. So no, seriously, and it's super super fun if you can survive the first 2 days. Like
Survive.
the first the first 2 days, dude, I was screaming and cursing. My Discord community can testify
Why?
to
What
that.
was? Wait, what? So what was the thing? Was it like just
Because I couldn't
clunky?
understand anything. No, it's just not how, like, because my pipeline is like lasso tool the shape in, like soft gradients, then paint on top, overlay sometimes for the lighting, then I merge everything in, paint on top, and all that.
Ah.
And here I was like, ooh, I actually have to think. But you know what? It's so satisfying when you solve the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing is that you can really find things that you would never, because the thing is, in the painting program Photoshop, there's Control Z layers, everything, and a lot of mistakes and happy accidents you just don't keep.
Mm-hmm.
You don't keep. And with heavy paint, you're like, you know what, this looks nice and it's too hard to
Yeah,
to
like
fix
it
up.
was too much of a pain in the ass to get this to happen, so I'm just gonna leave it.
Yeah. And you are really are like dealing with the consequences of your brushstrokes. And anyways, it's really really good, guys.
Yeah. Well, okay,
There's
so yeah,
give it
there's
a shot.
since there's not really much smoothing and correction. It's very raw, right?
Yeah.
So it's I think it's a little bit charming because you see more of the human touch. You see more of the wobbliness and like the
Mhm.
mistakes and stuff, which people like. I think that's something that I'm starting to realize more now too. Is like I think people like art that doesn't look too perfect all the time. Like
Mhm.
it's kind of endearing and nice to see the human touch, to see, you know, mistakes and things and messiness a little bit, and it's
Hmm.
okay. Like you're not trying to be a perfect machine. People like that you're imperfect, you know,
Yeah.
because it's
The
that,
other
yeah.
the other day, sorry for interrupting. The other day, my wife brought like 5 old cameras from a thrift store from like 2000 and something. They had like super bad pixelated resolution with like an ugly flash, like super powerful flash. And you know what? The photos in that, even though they're looking perfect in that high res on the iPhone photo, they look vintage. And the cool thing is, I think humans do value that
Mm-hmm.
in the painting too. Like yesterday with the HEAVYJAN day 3, I posted that I think in the near future there's going to be like a digital renaissance to some degree because everything's going to be so oversaturated with like AI generated stuff. The people who can paint like in heavy paint and other things, they're going to be looked at like, wow, dude. And traditional artists will be like gods of the universe in my
Yeah,
opinion because if you can do things in digital or in traditional, like I have tremendous respect for people who do that.
yeah,
It's like insane.
yeah. Traditional will be like the ultimate test of your
Yep.
abilities, I guess. But at the same time, it's like what's the analogy? It's like how, you know, they invented the car, but yet people still enjoy running from place to
Yep.
place for fun because that's what people like to do. We're not trying to get from A to B in the fastest possible way. We're trying to do it in the slowest, most human way because that's what we like to do.
Yeah. It's like we don't compete with like heavy lifting machinery in heavy lifting
Yeah,
competitions, right?
yeah.
It's see what the human limitation is, and like for example, I'm not sure what your views on AI and stuff, and mine is like some people are super worried. I am not because I know that it's here to stay. It's just maybe the monetization of art is going to change to some degree, some point. Maybe it's going to be more entertainment and like old gallery style. Maybe it's going to be content related, Patreon related, people doing it for fun.
Yeah.
Maybe the industry will replace us with robots. Who cares? But then if it does, it's not the industry that I signed up for. So I'll still do the thing that I want to do by hand. And maybe in the future, in like 15 years, this movie was made entirely by humans. And people like, wow.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, there are some movies like the Van Gogh movie where they painted every frame by hand,
Yeah.
and they had, you know, like an army of painters just doing it all manually, which is still, it's cool because it's something like crazy, and it's a lot of effort, um, and like, you know, you can appreciate that. Um, but yeah, maybe art will, you know, like commercial art might change, but it might shift people that would have been in commercial art to go more into fine art, like you're saying,
Hmm.
or just, yeah, it'll probably be some shifts like that in terms of, yeah, industry. But still, you're right. People, I think, get into art because they love art, not because they love industry, right?
Yeah. Well,
So,
there's some people I know, a very rare few that are like craftsmen. They're like, I was created on this earth to be a concept artist for the video game industry. I sometimes envy those people because like my approach to art is a little bit more philosophical. It's about making people's lives better, dealing with your own emotions, and filtering life through your own unique lens and perspective. Right? It's more of a, well, it's a curse and a blessing to some degree because it's like breathing, but most people look at art as like, well, I'm gonna paint something really, really cool and I'll get likes on Instagram. But I really hope that there's gonna be some kind of like resurgence of super passionate people that do the thing because they like doing the thing, and then they find a way to monetize it. That's how it happened to me. I'm like, the only thing I'm really good at is just like creative thinking and art. What should I do? And color scripting came along. Um, right now, it's switching to more movie making and animation, storyboarding, and philosophy and writing, I guess.
yeah.
I still haven't decided how I will be able to monetize that lifestyle, but that's what
Yeah.
I'm really passionate about. I really miss there's only a few people that I can talk to that are like, oh, dude, this is awesome. What about this? And then they share some kind of like old 1950s photo, and they're like, what do you think about this? And yeah, I think the industry needs those kind of people because I'm really worried about animation and movies in general because I think those people disappear. Or
Well, I think,
do you have?
what I'm hoping is that, with all these new tools coming out, like with Unreal Engine and AI and
Yeah,
whatever,
we
it's
need
gonna
that.
make it so that like individuals and smaller teams can
Yeah.
be more independent and do their own projects, outside of the studio system, hopefully.
Hmm.
And I mean, yeah, yeah. If like a small team can do a lot more, with less money, then I think that's a good thing. Um, in terms of creativity, that means that, let's say a TV show now might cost like $1 million per episode.
Yep.
So they have to be very, careful. It's a big risk in terms of money.
Yep.
So
Big
if
investment.
things are can be done with a smaller team, then you can be more risky and do more crazy stuff. Hopefully, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just thinking about. There's one guy called GM just mentioned something got me on the associative thinking spree. He says I completely agree with that. Like photography permitted impressionism in painting because having a realistic painting wasn't the goal anymore. AI might permit new art movements. And you know what? I was thinking about the exact same thing because I'm like, you know what? Impressionism is the answer again, to some degree now with the rise of AI. Don't you think so?
Yeah, it could
Um,
be. I don't know.
maybe, maybe, but yeah, I agree with that. My wife is crushing things in the kitchen. Sorry, guys, if you got blasted on YouTube. She dropped a jar of pickles.
What?
Yes, I have my studio basically in the kitchen. It's like above a garage room, and the kitchen is right next to it. And yeah, my wife likes to crush stuff, Hulk smash. Um,
She's
but yeah,
the
guys,
pickle
if you have
smasher.
any if you have any questions to Juan, please shoot away. Um, I know that we promised like a super like intense heavy paint demo, but technically we are
Oh yeah,
really
let me actually talk about WebbyPaint for a minute since I've been.
yeah.
Let me actually show what it is. I don't know if anyone is playing with it now, but if you go to webbypaint.com, you'll see this interface. And so let me just quickly show. So this is a weird thing, right? Like this slider over here is a saturation slider, but it's strange because it's gray in the middle, and then it's positive on the top, positive one, and then on the bottom is negative one. Does that
Mm.
make sense? So so it's like you're getting the warm and cool version of that color, or the complementary color there.
Oh, that's epic, dude.
So it's nice if you're doing, painting outside and you have to flip flop from the shadows to the warm. And the cool thing about having saturation this way is that, it makes it so that saturation is a continuous spectrum, including gray. Because normally we think of gray as like the end of saturation, but it's really
Mhm.
part of saturation, right? When we have it
Yeah,
this way, it gray is actually like cool in 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 the
in the
context of this
context.
red, right? So
Yeah,
it I like working like this now. I mean, you can turn it off, but
that's
yeah,
genius, dude. I really need to try it. Will this ever be implemented into heavy paint?
no, it won't.
Oh
This is all just Webby Paint
no.
stuff.
All
Um,
right, I
the
gotta switch to baby paint now.
the other thing that's kind of neat about this color picker here, um, if you've ever used Photoshop, when you when you change hue in Photoshop, you notice that the values jump up and down like brightness. So if you're, let's say you're sliding over to yellow, and then the brightness becomes very high because it's yellow. and then if you slide over to blue or purple, it gets very low brightness, right?
Yeah.
So this this box will compensate for that, so it keeps the brightness the same.
That's it.
When you
because
change
I did
the hue.
notice that a lot. Because the hues they top out on different levels, and I see that in the box itself, like yellow
Yeah.
has a higher brightness way over there.
Yep.
Blues and then purples and then blues, they have a smaller range, and then maybe not a lot of people understand, but the thing is the value of a hue of a color can only go up so high until it goes into pure white. And for example, blues in this box, they top out, right? This is the highest saturation of blue before it loses its local color, right? And I think that's a genius way to present. I think only a painter could come up with this color palette, color. What is it? Not color wheel, this color box. I don't
Yeah.
know what to call it.
Well, just to be clear, I didn't invent this color box. This is like I think some a guy named Bjorn, but he's like a color genius. But he invented this new color theory where, well, not a color theory, but a color space where the brightness stays consistent, which is perfect for artists. So I don't know if he's an artist himself, but yeah, this is great, and it's relatively new. It's only a couple years old, I think. So hopefully everyone will end up using something like this in the future. But we are trying to be very futuristic with WEBBYPAINT here. And then what else? There's a bunch of tools here, like line blend is the same as in HEAVYPAINT, where you can just drag to blend between two colors. We have sound effects now. So if you go to the top right and go to sound.
We're not here. Oh, now we're here. So if you want to DJ while you paint.
Yep. Yeah, especially with undo.
He's trying to gamify it. He's trying to get you addicted to painting.
Yep, let's get addicted to painting.
You know what you need? You need a 10 brushstrokes combo without interruptions. And then it just like has like a Mortal Kombat sound to it.
Oh, that would be really cool. Like you don't.
Dude, can you imagine if you like interrupt? Oh, dude, if you uninterrupted, no Control Z.
Yes, no Control Z, no eyedropper, and you get like a Yeah, it's a combo.
You
and
get a combo.
You
get a
count
combo.
how many far you can go with. That would be amazing.
Oh, see, guys, we're useful. We might see those things implemented one day.
That would be so cool. Oh my
Yeah.
god. I'm definitely gonna put that
Arcade
in.
painter, yeah. Yeah, it is.
And then what else do we have here? There's RGB sliders, HSL, lab sliders. I don't know if anyone here likes lab, but a lot of people since the beginning of this app have been asking for lab, and then some people like really swear by it. I'm not really used to it yet.
What is lab? What's the bottom slider does?
So I'm not sure exactly, but it's also supposed to keep the value consistent with lab. So like if we're over here and we, well, I guess it's not really. I don't know. Some people really love lab.
Yeah, I opened it once and I didn't understand it and I closed it.
Yeah. I really love RGB too because it's nice because whenever you change the color, you're slightly affecting the saturation and the value and everything. It's like you're affecting everything basically. Whereas if you're using, the box or one of these other sliders, I get into a habit where I'll just like keep changing without touching the saturation slider. So I get kind of lazy like this. But with RGB, that just doesn't happen because you're always changing saturation.
But you actually need to know how to mix colors with those.
Yeah, but
It's kind of hard.
well, okay, what one trick to RGB is that when you want to control the saturation, if the three are really far apart, then it's very saturated. But if they're very close together, then it's gray.
It's neutral.
So
Oh, it's gray.
that's how I think about it. I just spread them apart to make it more saturated, you know? Or you could go this way, and then it's going to be the complementary color, you know? So this blue here is the complementary of, if I opposite those two and leave the green, then that's the opposite, right?
I usually, when I tried to use those sliders, I would do it at the end of the painting to get color variation, just to mess around and have some happy accents. But most of the time, I just use the default color box that you had in Heavy Paint. But I gotta try the thing. And a lot of people say, like, what's the best way to learn, like, you know, color relationships and temperatures and all that stuff. You know, was it the HCV slider, right?
Yeah, HSV. This is like HSV here,
yeah,
sort of.
HSV is pretty good. I also like the default color wheel because because I paint in Paint Tool Sai for like 70 years. My director hates me for that.
Nice.
But color wheel is also pretty nice because when you need to find the local color of your object, sometimes let's say you have a red ball and then let's say a yellow light shines on it. And kind of in this box is also nice because you know that you need to shift towards yellows like that, right? But in the color wheel, the space is connected, and some people, like for example, see the blues on the right and blues on the left are disconnected. Oh, you have this? Okay. You little genius! You thought of everything, right? But most people will not make this connection, right? Because sometimes, let's say, I know this is super niche, guys, and most people don't understand what I'm talking about, but sometimes. Let's say you have a local color of green and it goes more blue or more green. Like on this box, people would go into like saturated greens, for example, instead of the blues, right? And the color wheel, it's kind of naturally. I'll show it. I know you don't see my stream, but
yeah, I know what you mean. It's a full circle, so you never.
It's a full circle,
there's no
so
end.
You can. Yeah. And the cool thing is you can follow the circle until the local color loses its local color, and you know when to stop. Right? To change the hue.
Yeah.
So I just got used to the color wheel, and I do teach color and light, and and that's how I explain it.
Oh, maybe I need to add a circle next. That could be the next one.
Maybe no pressure though, but the circle is nice just because of that.
Yeah.
Because also on the circle you can technically know, like, are you gonna go through the warms to make the highlight? Or you can go through the cools. You know what I mean? Right? If you go up the circle or the left. And so the circle is kind of a nice visual representation of hues to some degree. And I do like it. But I do hate that, you know, the square box that is like inside of the circle. That's how my color wheel works. It has like a square inside of it. It does not represent the values of the hue correctly. Sadly. Which in this box you do solve. So it'll be,
Okay, I'll try to I'll look into some circle technology, see if we can get that going. Yeah, there's always another color picker to add. There's so many different color pickers. Like, if you turn them all on, it's ridiculous. Like, look at this. Every single person has a different type of color picker that they want.
If you want to be a true master, you need to have all of them on. And then you just switch from different color picker every time just to mess up with your brain.
Or if you're crazy, you can do this. And then spacebar. So spacebar.
What's spacebar?
Spacebar does, if you hold down spacebar, you do this.
Oh wow.
And if you hold down S, you get this.
So you basically memorize in your mind's eye the color space of the thing, and then it's really, really cool because you technically, what color do I have in mind? And then instead of color picking it, you just drag it on screen invisibly.
Yeah, you're like, I just need a little. And it's nice because it's relative too, because you already have, and also if you click on it, you get, oh wait, why isn't that working? Okay, it's broken. But normally, if you click, you get an eyedropper. But it's relative, so if we're on this red here, I could just hold down spacebar, drag up a little bit, and then it's a little bit
Mm.
brighter or whatever.
I think it would be really useful in the later stages of the painting when you need to have color variation, when you just want to,
Yeah.
I don't use the colors box that often when all of the things are already blocked out. I'm just color picking, and that would be really, really cool. So you guys, this is really, really cool. I bet not a whole lot of you know about this.
Yeah, gosh. Don't you even know? Don't
Do
you
you know
even
baby paint?
know?
Do you even baby
Don't you
paint,
even
bro?
know? Yeah, do you even?
You need a T-shirt like that.
Don't you
I
even
think
slide?
I think the community will like it. Do you even baby paint, bro?
Oh man.
Um, because the thing is, dude, I gotta be honest. I was looking at heavy paint for many years now. I was just too afraid to touch
What?
it. I would well, I
Why?
opened. I bought it like. How old is the app?
It's maybe
When did you have it on
It's maybe
download?
4 years ago.
Yeah, I think like 2 or 3 years ago, I bought heavy paint. I opened it. I was like, I try, man. I opened it with conviction that I gotta do an amazing job. I'm gonna be like those heavy paint dudes on Instagram, and I painted like a forest scene. And I was my heart was broken so much that I was like, I left it for a really, really long time, and I was like, you know what? One day I'm not ready yet.
Oh
Um,
man.
but
So
then
you,
this January, yeah.
damn. You opened it and you're just like, nope. You
No, no,
close it
no.
back
I
up.
spent 5 hours in it.
Oh
I
shoot.
spent 5 hours in it trying to do the thing, but it's just my mind just didn't it just didn't click,
Mm-hmm.
because there is an adjustment to it, like a traditional painter, right? You start from the background, moving forward. It's just another pipeline, because sadly mine at the time was like very like, okay, you lasso tool, you have a sketch, you lasso tool the shapes, then you fill in the things, then
Mm.
you use some overlay for like basic lighting, then you
Mm.
paint on top. And it was I think in heavy paint for me, it's really hard to get that neutral base going, and when you solve that puzzle of the made value relationships, then it becomes fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, what's the negative shape, what the positive shape, right? The blocking was the hardest thing for me.
Yeah.
And when I cracked that on day one of HEAVYJAN, I was like, okay, all right. I see what people really liked it. And yeah, by the way, I don't use color jitter that much.
Oh man,
Because
that's my favorite thing.
I know a lot of people do, but I'm really particular with my color. I use it sometimes. I will link. Where's that latest painting that I did? I'll show it in the Discord chat. Girl Forest. Here it is. I used it for the background here, very slightly. If you look into the background, you will see some. If you are in a very dark room, okay, but
Uh-huh.
there's very
Okay.
slight color variations there. Top right.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. This one's cool. It is very dark. Need
It's
to
very
close
dark.
my
If
window.
you're not in dark room, you will not see it.
Yeah.
But I use it just a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. On the
Um,
little fans and stuff.
A little fan.
It.
It's super subtle. It's super
Yeah.
subtle. It's just because I like to be in control of my color.
No, it's really
I was
nice. It's nice in the shadows, I think, because you can hide a lot of saturation and like juiciness in shadows because they're so dark
Yeah.
anyway.
The sad thing about this painting, if you're not in a pitch black room, you can't you can't really see it. Another thing that I figured out, for some reason, color representation is much better in heavy paint, because when I paint in Paint Tool Sai, something is different. I don't know why,
Oh,
but when
well,
I'm doing heavy paint,
there,
the colors are just much juicier when I
yeah,
export it.
there is, well, does Webby Paint have? I'm not sure if Webby Paint is HDR, but sorry, Heavy Paint, but Webby Paint uses display P3 color, which is
Uh-huh.
it's supposed to be like 25% more color gamut than sRGB, which is like the
Mm-hmm.
regular color. So it's enough color that most screens can't even display it, all the colors.
Yeah.
So, but Apple displays have P3 support, and I
Yeah.
think like a lot of phones have P3 support. Like phone
Yeah.
screens are pretty good, right? But
Yeah.
then a lot of just like regular computer monitors might not have it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
There's one question your way. What's the difference between Heavy Paint and WebByPaint? It's just that one is an app and the other one is a web app.
well, it's like the next version of Heavy Paint. It was a full rebuild this past year, starting in like April of last year, just nonstop rebuilding everything and for the browser. And whoa, sorry. And yeah, because it started off as a test because someone in the Heavy Paint Discord, Noah, he made like a little mini painting web app, and I was playing with it, and I thought, wow, like the performance is really good. It's way better than I thought it would be on a browser. And so
Mm-hmm.
I started researching into it, and then I found that actually the browser you can do this thing called WebGL, which is basically the same as OpenGL, or
Mm-hmm.
it's extremely performant. So it's actually faster than Heavy Paint in terms of performance. And then I
Mm-hmm.
was researching other stuff like, oh, you can do file drag and drop. You can do display P3 color. You can export videos. You can do basically every single little thing, like, hotkey keyboard support on iOS. That was impossible on using the engine I was building Heavy Paint on. There were this huge list of like little things that I was never able to do with Heavy Paint.
Mm-hmm.
That I was like, okay, I'm gonna just rebuild the whole thing and do it like fix all the little stupid annoying things that people have been complaining about for years. And this is just going to be the new version. So yeah, that's WebByPaint. And the cool thing too is that even though it's in a browser, you can install it as a web app and it will work offline. So if
Oh,
you're
it does?
yeah, so if you're in Chrome, if you go
Mm-hmm.
to the top right, like the little three dots,
Mm-hmm.
and then there should be a thing in here that says install as app. I already did it,
Mm-hmm.
so for me it says open in
Mm-hmm.
WebByPaint, and then it'll
Got
just
it.
install it as a little icon, and then this is an actual app,
Oh,
and you can use it offline and everything. So it's like
that's epic.
there's basically no downside to it. Oops. I need to fix that. There's no downside other than the canvas just scooting off the screen. Embarrassing. Um,
I'm just
there
doing
we
the
go.
elevator music.
There we go.
I do like that it has gallery view.
Yeah, you got gallery view too.
One thing with the Heavy Paint, I'm like, okay, I saved my image. How do I save my image? And it's like, disk C, you need to create folder. And I don't really know where the speed paint's exported. And in the Webby Paint, you just like, oh, export your speed paint. It's really,
Yeah.
really cool. I'll do my daily in Webby Paint today. Give it a crack, see how that goes. Since I conquered Heavy Paint on desktop, now I need to. Okay,
You need more challenge.
not at all. No, well, yeah. No, I'm just excited to test the color box space because it's a very interesting way to approach color and light, and with the slider to the right and the whole thing, I think a lot of neutral colors will just dictate them themselves. And if you're a student and your colors turn out really, really bad sometimes, try this color space out. I think I'm
Sorry.
thinking about rewriting my color and light course and having a Heavy Paint section in it because it really does force students to think in another way.
Well, it's like it forces you to actually paint.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. The thing is, it's like I have a few homeworks for finding local colors and everything, and I know people are using multiply,
Hmm.
and I know that people are using overlay. And even though I strictly said do not use just direct thing, they still do it. And I think Webby Paint. Well, technically, if I really want to force them. I should use heavy paint because it doesn't have overlays or anything in there.
Okay, what about this? What if there is like
Assisted
in
mode?
the stats, yeah, there's a it'll
Oh,
tell you
dude,
if you've used
you
multiply.
have to send me the stats of your painting. If I see even one bar
Yeah.
of overlay modes, you're banned,
Mhm.
dude.
Or just the streak thing. I think that's such a good idea. Like the combo, just not
Yeah, yeah.
undoing. Like
Okay,
you could
can you
see who
please make it a Viking voice?
a
You
Viking
know,
voice.
a Viking voice. It's gonna be a Viking voice. You're on the way to Valhalla. Okay, Coco combo would be cool, but
That would be awesome. Okay, I need to find a voice actor that sounds like that.
come on, you should voice it. We just throw some reverb inside it, dude. If you want really good musical sounds or anything, my wife is a music composer. She can do anything. So if you want like
Ooh.
dude, if you want an orchestral thing, you know what? You should have a finished but like painting is finished, and when you do it, there's like an orchestral score, like you know, Two Steps from Hell. Oh, da, da. You know, do you know Two Steps from
No,
Hell?
I don't
I
know
think
that
it's
one.
called Strength of a Thousand Men. It's like just imagine the most epic score in the
It's like
world. Like, you know, you feel like a Greek god, you know, conquering the mountain Olympus.
be
And every
a
time you
man in the strength of the rising, rising. What is it? The Mulan song?
Oh
Be
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
man.
yeah. Both. You can put that in there, but
That's true.
Disney will hate us.
Oh,
Yeah.
strength of the coursing water. Yeah, okay. There's a lot of good ideas here. I'm excited.
See, we need one back. Because the thing is, for another month we'll be testing it out. Oh, by the way, Vaughn has heavy paint. What's it called? What's your Discord called? I'll link it right now.
Oh, it's
So people can
heavy
join it.
poly Discord. Let's see.
Okay,
Oh, there's
I'm
some
gonna.
questions here. Let me try. Aponte says, "Is there a way to export other than WebM?" The export, it depends on what platform you're on. I think iOS, it only supports WebM export. I'm not sure if on here, let me see. Can I export WebM on desktop? Export replay. I think on desktop it exports as MP4. I'm not sure. But I use this program called Handbrake to convert videos. But I guess at that point it might be easier to just screen record.
Yeah. Just OBS.
Oh, is this WebM also? Let's see. Yeah, it is WebM. Okay, maybe screen record is the easiest way. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's like some platforms don't support anything other than WebM, so it's kind of stinky.
By the way, any chance this is being recorded for later? This is gonna be posted either on my channel or Van's channel. Probably Van's channel because I accidentally didn't turn my mic on when I was doing the announcement. So I'm probably gonna ask Juan for the recording, and
Yeah.
probably just gonna go on the Heavy Paint Discord, maybe with a link to our channel or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think Vaughn has a better recording than I am.
Okay.
I need to double check. I
Hopefully.
am live streaming it right now.
Hopefully. I hope mine came out okay too. We'll see.
You know, it turns out we're both muted.
Oh man, that would be
on our ends.
classic.
Then we'll have to like pretend and just record a voiceover of the thing. Yeah, that's not happening.
It'd be so janky. Okay. Well, how long has this painting been going? I feel like I didn't get that much stuff done on this painting.
Oh no, this is great, dude. We're going for an hour and a half, almost an hour and 30 minutes. So another 5 to 10 minutes probably, so we don't overwork you.
Okay.
I know that some people say it's a challenge talking with me.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't know, Vaughn. You tell me. Okay. Do not compliment me because I am forcing you to the thing. Moving on. Yeah, I'm super awkward sometimes. I have a question. I have many interests to the point I can't choose my style or career. It constantly changes. I like rendering in 3D, but also I like graphic novels and comic styles. So it confuses me to choose what style for a drawing or what path for a career. I keep changing my style. So what should I do?
Oh,
Juan, do you have any?
I like this question because I feel the same way too. Except I can't control myself. Basically, whenever I'm interested in something, I have to follow it and like dive into it very deeply for a while and then see what happens. So, basically, I'm saying that you don't have to think of it like you're choosing one thing and not the other thing because what you could do is dive into the one thing that the one of them that you're interested in now, and then later on you can try diving into the other thing, and you don't have to choose, and you're gonna hopefully have a long, beautiful life where you can do lots of things. You don't only have to do one thing for the rest of your life, so that you don't have to think of it like that, you know. And there's plenty of time to try lots of stuff, and you never know too, because sometimes we might think that um, thinking of it as one, choosing one or the other, and they might actually end up helping each other and relating into each other later on. Even
Yeah.
if they seem different, they might tie into each other. So it's not really like a waste of time to do one thing and not the other, like they all kind of connect, hopefully.
Yeah. Um, I want to add to that is that especially in the beginning, when it comes to style or anything, just the idea is the most valuable thing that you have, and execution and style is just it's a vehicle to carry that idea across. And some things come naturally to you, especially when you're lost. And some things are, you know, it's the same side. You might think you like 10 different things, but there's a certain elements in those 10 different things that probably correlate to each other. Like for example, I like certain movies because of the color inside of them, but maybe I don't care about composition that much. Then I look into comics, and then I like certain composition, so I take composition from comics, take the color from the movie, and then um, anyways, it's a mishmash of things that
Yeah, but
creates you.
yeah, yeah, I think you're right though. Like there's probably some kind of subconscious thread that's linking everything together that you're
Yeah.
into.
Yep.
Like I was watching an interview with Gabe Newell from Valve, like
Yeah.
the Steam guy, and he was saying like he was desperately trying to find a new hobby that has nothing to do with work, like completely outside of work, and he chose to his new hobby was he's gonna buy like a 3D printer slash CNC machine that can cut things, right? But
Okay.
then as he was sitting down to play with it, he realized that calculating the path where the machine's gonna cut and like the tool path and how you have to avoid the undercuts and do all the calculations is the same thing as calculating where the video game characters are gonna go in their navigation path. So he was like, "Damn it! It's like work
Yeah.
again." Like he can't escape it. So yeah, it's like it's all connected. Hopefully.
Well, it's connected to the fundamentals, right? Because I think if you study so shape, color, value, graphic interpretation of symbols, and appeal. And if you think about those things through the lens of what you like, which those 4 or 5 different genres, I'm pretty sure you will find again those underlying things. And it's not a bad thing to learn many styles, because I do believe that the future of VizDev is people who have a very recognizable style who can go into different styles but still be recognized as them. So, for example, if I do a graphic sketch of something, most people will know it's Misha. If I'll do a realistic painting, they'll know it's Misha, even though it's in different styles. And those tools are very valuable because I'm gonna tell you, man, like there's so many styles that come and go in animation, and it's very beneficial to have that tool set. The only problem with that is that's I'm gonna tell you the problem with that is that it's gonna take a long time to learn all of them. So what I'm gonna say is choose the closest thing to you that you really enjoy and just axe it out like in Skyrim, like stealth to like 100, and then level up those other levels simultaneously, parallel to that, because you do need to monetize your thing to some degree. So for me, it was color and light. I was doing color keys, right? I didn't level up my render, I didn't level up my form, I didn't level up, but I leveled up color, value, composition, and visual appeal. The other ones, anatomy, sketching, everything else, they're okay if they're at 5 or 10 and 15%. But you know what the cool thing is? When
Hmm.
you're leveling up thing,
Hmm.
the other thing subconsciously level too, because I started as an environment artist. I want to do environments, and then I switched to color keys. But then when I start doing characters, me without doing any character designs, I started doing pretty good at the time characters. I was like, wow, and I didn't study that, because the thing is, if you study one thing, the fundamentals are the same, right? If you like, a character is a bunch of boxes, right? So like, everything bleeds into each other, and the future of VizDev is, jacks of all trades that can do everything. So like storyboarding, color scripting, keyframe art, rendering and form and color and light and atmosphere and all of that, but with a specification, or I mean the main thing in one thing. So for example, that's what happens with me right now. Like, I'm doing color keys all the time, but when I need to, I can switch to keyframes. But my job is a color key artist, but I can be used in different parts of pipeline, uh, because my director can use me as a toolbox. But when I go into keyframes, like, right now I have an interesting pipeline. I do like a half finished keyframe that is half color key slash keyframe, and then the other people who are better at other things, they finish it up for me. So yeah, it's never a bad thing to learn many things.
Mm-hmm. Learning is fun, right?
It's a love-hate relationship. All right, a couple of last questions, guys, so we don't so Vaughn doesn't get tired. How you doing, Vaughn? You tired? You okay?
Yeah, I'm
How much?
fine. I mean, I gotta
How much?
do this painting anyway today, so I'm totally fine.
Like, you're mixing useful with enjoyable, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever's enjoyable, whatever's useful is for you to decide. uh any advice to land a job as a color key color script artist? Juan, do you have any?
Well, I've never been a color script artist, so this is probably a better question for you.
Okay, I'm a color script artist full time for the last 6 years, so I think I have an idea. Um, just do color keys. I'm sorry, it's a dumb. I know it's a dumb answer, but um, find a storyboard, find a um, find a story that you like. Sadly, you have to storyboard your own thing, or you can find a storyboard artist that's really, really good and publish their storyboards online as a portfolio. Ask them if you can do color keys on top of them and paint on top of their storyboard, so you don't have to storyboard the whole thing. Take a sequence that is 20 to 35 frames and try to do 2 to 3 frames a day. That's a good pace. Usually color key artists usually do 1 to 3 frames a day. Again, it depends on the frame. There's like, the general rule of thumb is, if there's more than one character in a frame and there's two of them, you can do 1 or 2 of those a day. If there's one character with very simple background and there's 3, you can do 3 of those. So if it's a complex frame, 1 to 2. If it's simple background and the character, it's 2, 3 to 4. I've done 8 frames a day. It's 1 an hour sometimes, but I was on a deadline. I've done 15 frames one day, but it depends all on, again, faster you are, more valuable you are in the industry when it comes to color scripting, because you need to do really fast decisions really, really fast. You need to understand cinematography, you need to understand depth of field, you need to be a movie geek, and you need to be a very fast painter who can do a very final looking little painting with all the lighting information in it in a very short amount of time. And you need to think about the 3D team ahead of you, because that's whose life you're making easier. You're a bridge between the 2D team and the 3D team, because your color keys are going to be a guideline either for flat colorists in 2D, or the 3D lighting team. So yeah, I hope this was useful.
That was a great answer.
Well, I've been doing it for a really long time, and I am releasing a colored light course in like 4 months. So if you want to study from a color key artist, there's going to be 2 courses coming out: Basics of Color and Light and Advanced Color and Light. It's basically one course in one, but I'm separating them into 2 so people can buy it more affordable. Hey, look, advertising. It's not as bad as I thought. I hate talking about myself. But yeah, if there's people who want to learn color scripting, in a few months, there's gonna be an announcement. I am recording it as I speak. It was already recorded in Russian. I graduated like 300 people, 100 and something personally, and then another 200 my students graduated.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's great.
it was a
That's
lot
awesome.
of teaching, man. I love teaching. It's also an art form. You need to analyze a student, try to figure out their strengths, and then figure out how their unique brain can understand the concept. And you need to understand it easy enough, and it's really, really cool. And a kind word, like, I think my career is built about kind words about people encouraging me and me being foolish enough to believe them to keep going.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
to write.
Yeah, teaching is hard. Definitely a
Yeah,
new skill to learn. Is not the same as actually doing the stuff. You have to. It's completely
yeah,
different.
yeah. Also, Kate said that um, she's using WebByPaint for the first time, and she likes it, and she likes WebByPaint, and it's so smooth and intuitive, and loves parts,
Yay! Yay!
and she loves the color settings. So props to you, Vaughn. Pat yourself on the back.
Yay! Thank
Yay,
you.
Vaughn.
Oh.
I'm an animator, but I love painting. The color scripting seems to be up my valley. Now I'm thinking of using HEAVYJAN to train for it. It's an awesome tool, dude. For color scripters, that's why I am rewriting one of the blocks right now. I started rewriting it yesterday. Since I started HEAVYJAN, I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
To make HEAVYPaint mandatory, because I can't find a more students gonna be mad at me. They'll be screaming at me, but I just can't find a better solution for studying color and light than this app. I'm not even
Damn.
kidding. Thank you,
Oh,
Juan, for
man.
that. I'm being 100% serious. So I still need to figure out, I will be dedicating the full January to studying the program to see the pipeline in it and all that stuff. I'm probably gonna introduce maybe 2 levels of painting: one with clipping mask and one direct painting for people who for people who feel brave. But yeah, I can't
Yeah,
find
that's
because in
awesome.
Photoshop, it's with those sliders and with those things, people push Control Z too much, and they really need to go on the full spectrum of colors and find every color relationship, because if you don't pick that gray in the context of orange, that gray will never seem blue to you, right? And people will just Control Z out of it. There's certain color relationships that you just need to find on accident sometimes and memorize them. And it's really, really hard to do in Photoshop. And it's really, really hard to demo too, right? Because there's so many variations, right? Context.
Yeah, context will get you every time.
Dude, because it's same color, 10 different contexts, same gray will look green, blue,
Yep.
orange, and gray. And
Yep.
that's why I love color so much, because it's like magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because I remember studying one guy, and I did not know what context is. This was my beginning years, and I'm picking this. I'm picking this orange. I'm putting it on the canvas. It doesn't look orange. What am I doing wrong? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the problem is I didn't put the context in. I was trying to draw the character without drawing the background, and the color is all about it's about relationships.
It's hard to see these relationships too. I think that's for painting, you don't even have to be a good painter. You just have to be good at seeing the colors.
Yeah.
You know, that's actually the harder part, I think. The painting part is not difficult. Because I
The
remember,
thing is,
yeah,
yeah. Sorry, go.
I took a class from Peter Chan, and I remember him sitting behind, and we are looking at a bush or something, painting it, and he's like, "Hey man, you should put that orange in there." Maybe years after that class, now
You
I
saw
can
it?
finally start to see like, oh yeah, there are like weird colors happening everywhere that I just
Yeah.
didn't even realize were there. Like I was blind basically
It's
before.
because we tend to look at highlights, right? Because we think that's where the fun happens. But the thing is, the neutral grays, halftones, and shadow, that's when all of the that's where all the magic happens, right? Because the highlights is just cherry on top. You're just doing positive shapes. And you can do some color variation and vibrancy in the highlight, right? To some degree. But it's really hard. I don't think there's a whole lot of colors. Like we can maybe have like super saturated blue somewhere in the highlights with white to give it vibrancy, but there's not that many options, right? But in the halftones and the neutral grays, you can go nuts. It's like ridiculous what you can do in there.
Hmm.
Yeah, but sometimes when you stare at the painting for too much and you look into the shadow, different things start appearing. Um,
Yeah. I think this painting is getting worse now the more I play with it, so I should probably stop. But
That's another
yeah.
thing. Yeah, you need to learn when to stop.
Yeah, there's definitely a point where like I get really scared because I'm always happy in the beginning and the middle of the painting, but then towards the end,
Yeah.
I definitely make it worse. So I'm yeah, that's I think it might be or at least to take a break and look at it again later. Something like that.
Yeah. 80, like I heard like the 80-20 rule. The last 20% will take 80% of the effort to some degree. Because the first 80% of the painting is just
Yeah.
establishing the puzzle, right?
Mhm.
Establishing all the relationships together, context, shapes, everything else. And the last 20% will take 80% because it's like, okay,
Yeah.
now the final touch is like
Yeah.
negative shapes, cleaning up the shapes, all that stuff. Yeah,
That's why
frustration, frustration.
I skipped the last 20%.
Nice.
Just post it up. No, I'm just kidding. I am pretty bad at finishing paintings though.
No, this is great, dude.
Um,
Okay, people say you convinced them. I'm on HEAVYJAN, but I'll use WEBBYPAINT. Good.
Yay.
All right. Any final words of advice, Vaughn? What like we should make it epic and philosophical.
Um,
Okay, maybe not.
I'm really bad at this advice. I guess I would go back
What?
to that thread before where like I know when you're starting out, everything seems like a really huge decision, and it is a very big decision because you're like starting off your career, starting off your life and everything, and you're in control, and you know you're in control of your adventure, right? But just keep in mind that you have a whole life. You have a lot of time. You can learn lots of different things, not just one thing, and you can explore everything. And just remember that you started doing all this because you love to explore and it's fun, right? But anyway, that's my cheesy, crappy advice for today.
Do you have a fortune cookie? Fortune cookie bag of things. Yeah, mine is the same. We developed a new slogan, or I developed is tell stories, touch hearts, die trying. I think that's what is the Valhalla for Artists community stands for. Right? Tell
Nice.
stories, touch hearts, die trying. Because if painting is like breathing for you and telling stories is like breathing, it's your it's your what you call it, it's your calling from God obligation to pursue what you love. Because if you don't, you can have all the money in the world, and but if you lose your soul in the process, what's the point? And I think art for many people should be that, and many people forget about it. So I think everybody should be inspired by one's journey. He found a problem, he wanted to solve it. If you like find a story that you want to tell, or you find a problem you want to visually solve, take initiative and just do it. Blin. Nike's blin is a Russian word for pancake. That's like crap or shit in English.
Wait, what? Nike?
Lean. Nike has a really good. Sorry, my ADHD brain is all over the place. Nike has the best slogan, man. I
It's
can't believe they copyrighted.
just do it,
Just do
right?
it. Just do it is no, seriously, dude. Most of the time, that is the answer. The underlying problems and questions is you find your why of why you just do it, and you find your love for why you just do it, and then you just do it. It's that simple.
Yeah,
Because
and yeah,
yeah,
you don't need permission from anyone to start doing the thing that you want to do. Especially nowadays, we have all the tools, we have all the resources. You, if you want to do something, just start and do it, and
yeah,
you can.
yeah.
There's
I think
nothing.
this is a good place to end the stream. And thank you, Juan, so much for joining your stream, my stream. I don't know. On our stream.
Yeah.
Uh, Guys, please consider using WebBPaint, and please consider supporting the project. I don't like talking about money when it comes to me, but I'm okay talking about money when it comes to other people. One is a great developer, great painter, and I think if we support the app financially or anything, I already bought Heavy Paint. I'll probably subscribe to
Oh,
WebBPaint.
thank you.
Consider doing it because when it comes to community standing together, it's people who use it and talk the talk and walk the walk. Those are the people that we need to support. And I think it would be great to have a creator economy, artist economy within our community that maybe someday we won't even need studios. Students will be supporting teachers, fans will be supporting people. So yeah, because it's a great app. I am having lots of fun in it, and I think you too. Thanks for joining. And Vaughn, I think we'll invite you again. I think this was great. If you would love to come back someday, that would be great. Thanks
Yeah,
so
that
much, man.
it would be fun. This is a great community. It seems like everyone was very supportive. Thank you for being so friendly, guys, and hanging out. Thank you for listening to me blabber for so long. Um, yeah, and thank you, Misha, for inviting me over and holding this challenge this year.
Dude,
This is
we're
pretty
here to
cool.
support the good juju. It's all about the good juju, right? And you are the man of good juju. Even if
Oh.
you don't know that, you carry the good juju. That's
Oh, I don't know about
yeah.
that.
But
Okay.
anyway, guys, report to Vaughn's Discord. Download Heavy Paint. Go to Heavy Paint.
Yeah.
Subscribe to whatever I don't know Valhalla for Artist thing is Discord and YouTube. Know that, and yeah. Bye
All right.
bye.
Okay.
See you
Bye,
guys.
everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye bye. Okay.